Welcome to the Change Within podcast. This is Gerard Ucelli here. We are on episode 18. This is getting old enough to vote, even though we're in season 1 right now, and it is such a surreal experience to be talking to so many walks of life. And in the point of change, there are many instances where people have to wear so many hats to see how they could progress and move forward. Our next guest is somebody who is the epitome of that in wearing so many hats within the acting, producing, modeling, and management world. Our next guest is with us now, and her name is Elyse Feldman. Jen, how are you?
Hello. Wow, I like that introduction. And I told you I'm going in cold, so for anyone watching, Gerard does give the questions ahead of time. But I said, you know what? I'm preparing for stand-up shows. I want to do this. Let's make it fun. Let's keep me on my toes. Let's make me sweat a little. I had to change my shirt because I actually was sweating. So,
well, I'm glad you dropped the mic on both of our openings on that one, right? So a big thing that I'm always curious about with all the guests that I've had, and it's kind of like our first question that I love asking everybody, is what your childhood was like growing up.
Okay. Well, I guess you'd say it's a mix of good and bad, but I think it's overly simplistic to label anything as good and bad. So I'll try to paint a picture instead. I always like to laugh. I remember saying to my dad, what's that ha 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 sound? I really like that ha 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 sound. So I always liked laughter, and I always liked doing things that trigger laughter. It was just like the way of being in. And I was very cuddly with my mom. My mom was saying how I went up to her when I was 5 and said, "Oh, I love you so much. I had a good time." But I went to Jericho High School, and I think around 5th grade, I woke up to what being cool was, and I found out about Kate Moss and supermodels and Calvin Klein. And I don't know, I feel like I was a child and giggly and laughing until 4th or 5th grade. And then I got a modeling agent. I got into modeling, and I feel like dieting and just got serious. And I was like a Wall Street stockbroker in 7th grade and all these AP classes and pulling all-nighters in 7th grade and getting in fights. I can't go to the bat mitzvah. I had 3 bat mitzvahs in 1 weekend. I gotta get my overnights done. I gotta get my finals done. So Jericho High School was very crazy. I hope it's not still like that, but it burnt me out to the point where I got A's, honor roll. And then, that's the high school. I kind of senior year, I was like, been there, done that. Went to college. Probably should have thought about it. Took 5 years instead of 3. Had a good time. Had a lot of laughs. Learned a lot about health and fitness because I fell into that. I'm really going on a long thing. But I got into health and fitness after all the fun, wacky college Animal House type stuff was out of my system, or it's still in my system, I guess. And now I'm really deep into health. So now you had the 20s, which was partying. And then for about 8 years, full-time health and fitness, got that, lived that life 100%, getting up at 4 a.m, teaching workout classes, extreme, like the Mark Wahlberg 4 a.m. club. And now I'm at a balance. I got stand-up shows. I got health counseling, health training clients. I got healthy days. Tomorrow I'm hosting a roast. It's going to be a crazy day tomorrow. So it's a smattering of very disciplined and Arnold workouts and craziness and film festivals where we met.
Absolutely. And I feel like something to that point, and I'm sure you could agree with me, is your routine is probably different essentially every day. However, when you generalize the essence of what your routine is, as far as how you're doing things throughout your morning, afternoon, and night, you probably have such a preparedness as far as even if something is different to you by those scenarios, you're able to kind of adjust yourself as far as, okay, I had this past experience from like a comedy show, maybe I could adhere it to this type of like view as far as how I could connect to a crowd maybe or something like that.
Every day does change. Today was an earlier day. I have a friend who I have jokes about and making fun of it. And an ex-boyfriend comes over, helps me write for 3 weeks, through last 3 weeks. So he's like, I didn't know that the jokes that you had were about making fun of me. So that's kind of funny. They're like pretty harsh, really crazy. So that was earlier. He has an earlier schedule. So I'm already fading because I've been doing joke time at 11 a.m. That's very early for me. I'm not a morning person. But tomorrow's going to be a late one. We'll have the roast at 9:30 p.m. with a bunch of comedians.
Do you also think now I was listening to how you were describing like your school experience and then
Mm.
alongside how you're doing like things in the moment, do you kind of feel like it is that balancing act of working very hard in preparation and then kind of relaxing as you're in the moment performing?
Yeah, although I'm never really relaxed at this point. I'm always nervous and I'm always scared. And I think that was part of Jericho High School too, which I would say there's a lot of snobby people and a lot of mean people. And it's still at 37 almost years old. And when I come back from somewhere and everyone's really nice to me and they like the film festival, I'd say everyone was really nice. I got a lot of compliments and people said they loved your act and they were very sweet. I'm always still a little surprised. I expect people to be mean. I feel like a lot of people were kind of mean and snobby growing up. So I'm scared to go into the public, or maybe it's a past life thing. I'm always like, oh my God, are they going to hang me? I'm always scared for some reason, but it always goes well. I've never been hanged, or I've never had tomatoes thrown at me. Not yet.
Well,
But I'm never relaxed.
for all the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, it is essentially a metaphor for if you do something bad, you're probably going to have things thrown at you anyway in that way. But that also goes for me as well on that one. So nobody is immune from that one.
And never. Are you relaxed when you're performing in front of people or speaking in front of people?
It's weird because like for me, whether it's trying to do anything with music, this podcast, the adrenaline rush and my focus is something I love to hone in on. And that's the only thing I care about. So in that way, it kind of gives me the advantage. But then there's times where the eagerness trumps the relaxation part of it as well.
Okay.
Everyone's got their own thing, right?
Interesting. Yeah, mine's just trying not to be hung by the crowd and realizing that people want me to win in the audience.
Yeah, and I would say
sometimes.
like in the sense of doing public speaking for about 6 years, just with like jobs and what have you, something that is essential in learning as you're talking to people is not having your eyes on one person to deliver the message because you so get lost in the moment.
Oh, that would just be awkward. I'm just picturing a crowd of 200 people and just staring at someone's boobs. Like, that's not going to go well, you know? Or someone's crotch. Can you imagine? Maybe I'll do that in my next show. I'll just be like, Gerard told me to do this, all right? I'm going to do it.
You're welcome.
Hey, lady, you're the focus for the show. Nice boobs.
That's funny. So, here's something I'm curious about what you're saying from before. So, like the first time you felt like you were good at acting, like, did you feel like you wanted to pursue it at an early age? Like, when was that first time you were like, okay, I feel like I have something here?
Acting, never. I mean, for me, I consider myself a super novice actress because, you know, you see what can be done. I see where I've come from. 2014, I was super tragic. I guess performer though, as just like riffing and realizing I'm funny, I have to say it became super crazy clear that people really want to hear and listen to this. 2018, 2019, when I met my last boyfriend, we were out, and I can't say who he is, but he does something very creative that I respect. But it's secret, but it's very public. But it's a big thing. It's thousands of views, but he doesn't want to be known. But I really respect his comedic judgment. I really do. He notices things like Rain Man, and I remember in the first month or two, he's like, "You're the funniest person ever. You're the most interesting person ever." And I was just going off and saying crazy things. I mean, at one point, I made a paper airplane. I threw it at him and I screened some stuff. And I said, "You've been 9/11. I'm not going to do it here. I'm not going to tell a 9/11 joke on your podcast out of respect. I respect you." But yeah. I mean, it's like when people like that and people that are doing major shows and tours are like, "Oh my God, you're so funny. I want to put you on my show," which happened last night. And I said, no, I'm a new stand-up comedian. Thank you. But let's think about that. But thank you. But yeah, when you get reactions like that and laughs and people are just bowling over laughter, you're like, oh, okay. Huh. You're triggering something.
Yeah, I guess in the same like sense of that effect. Now, I call you a Jackie of all trades, from directing, producing, casting management, and etc. How has it kind of like formed your empathy over time?
Interesting. How's it formed your empathy? My empathy has always been really strong. I mean, because health and fitness, I really wanted people to win. I really gained more empathy for women at that time because I do a lot of things that are very masculine, and I grew up with my dad, really, so I see men's perspectives naturally. But I really gained a lot of empathy for women and women's perspectives and babies and families and all these things that I really want nothing to do with. So the empathy's always been strong, but in the casting world, I casted a few things, and you see, just like me, well, I'm very lazy sometimes, actually. So no, not like me. They really are eager and they want to impress you. And I just want to just be like, just chill. I talk to them like real people, like, yo, like, this is the deal. And I'll maybe tell them things that maybe I shouldn't. Like, listen, this is the production. These might be the hours, and give them as much information as you possibly can. And I think that's an empathetic thing. When you're casting someone, you tell them every single thing that you possibly could expect. Don't leave any room for, and same with if I'm being casted, I'll tell the director or producer, hey, I might not be good at this thing, so let's look out for this. Or, I always like people to know what they're getting into. I think that's part of empathy and being consideration. I don't want anyone to end up on some path because of me, because I've ended up on some messed up paths because of people. Mm-hmm.
Well, also in the perspective of wearing, like, whether it's the director's shoes or the actress's shoes in your case, there has to be that line of communication to address your weaknesses, because if it's not being discussed as far as what your like weaker points are, how are you going to be able to grow and manifest what you are good at?
Yeah. Well, I'm very detailed and pinpointed, and I did get yelled at by a real housewife of Sweden. I'm not going to say her name because I forgot it. It was 3 years ago, and I don't care. But she was a real housewife of Sweden. She was a real piece of work. And we were doing a comedy sketch, and very simply put, she was supposed to say the line from Ferris Bueller, I heard that you were feeling ill. Headache, fever, and chill. I came to help restore your pluck because I am the nurse who likes stuff. And she was supposed to say something like that. And it's supposed to have a more of a swagger than what I did. I want to go fast so you don't wait here. And she was Swedish, so she said, "I heard that you were like L." The whole thing was chopped. Yeah, I heard that you were like L. It was the opposite of Busta Rhymes, any of your favorite rappers. It wasn't smooth. We needed it to be a little smoother. So I'm trying to coach her through it. My friend's parents are there. We're in a medical hospital setting. We're trying to coach her through. We did 18 to 26 takes, and finally, I just go, we gotta move on. I'm like, maybe you can't teach someone how to rap.
So it's the one time
I got yelled at.
It's the one time.
I'm always honest.
Right. It's the one time you don't want Busta Rhymes to say, give me some more.
Yeah, can you give me anything? And I got yelled at. Yeah, I can't even do it. But it's a typical blondes and boobs and leopard print and sparkly nails, and that whole trifecta, the four things all together, is usually a problem.
Absolutely.
Just notice that.
And also, you were talking a little bit about like your fitness journey. Like, what was kind of like your first discovery in investing like more time into doing that? And how does it help you like in your day to day?
I've always been obsessed. I would say on level, and sometimes it was dangerous levels of obsession. So it just switched into professional. I've always was working out like I was professional. I even made a guidebook, a binder organized by abs, legs, arms, total body of the type of exercise. I would rip it out of magazines back like over 10, 15 years ago when people read magazines. I had a magazine. I would take it to Washington sports clubs and open up the book and do a workout and teach myself a workout like that. So, but professionally, I fell into fitness when a woman saw me training my boyfriend at Merrill Lynch. I wasn't certified. I thought about it. I just ordered the book, and she said, could you train me? And I said, I'm not certified. And she said she had botched liposuction on her butt. So if you have botched liposuction on your butt, or right below your butt, you have nothing for your butt to rest on. So your butt falls. So she had a botched butt. So she asked me to fix it, and I did. And then I trained her two friends because they said, what'd she do to your butt? And then I trained more, and that was full time for 2.5 years, and I burned out. Yeah,
well, I was
crazy.
Say, it is interesting for the sense that like for what needed to be like developed or like repaired in that way for what you were explaining, it's interesting how you had that talent as far as like getting from A to Z in that case. Like, I feel like that's significant, like ways that you can tell that you do have a knack for it.
Yes. Well, I have a knack for butt transformation. And that was my class, ab and butt makeover. And my first client was a butt makeover. And I do because I've been studying butt shaping since probably age around 14. JLo wasn't cool. Kim K wasn't around when I was a senior and junior. And someone made fun of my butt and I heard that. They told my friends. And I was like, oh, wow. And really, my butt had cellulite and one cheek was in Afghanistan, another cheek was in California. Things were all over the place. So I needed to reel it in. And I learned so much about shaping heinies. I really am a heiny expert.
So you were breaking the internet before any of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just I claim this self-discovery right now.
Yeah. I've kind of ignored it because, it's not couth. It's not proper to show pictures of your butt, but my butt is in my next stand-up act because it's part of a joke and it's funny. So I'm going to be bringing it out finally.
Finally. You have like the dots like before the end of that statement.
A lot of people have told me, I listen, if I wanted to make a lot of money, I could open an OnlyFans for my butt. I'm confident. Listen, I'm bad at a lot of things. I just like to sleep a lot. I don't have patience. I mean, I can go on the list of things I'm bad at, but like, I shaped a pretty good hiney. Yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
One of the strongest bullet points for the Elyse Feldman experience on a resume.
Oh man, yeah. My classes were the bomb. They were. I'm gonna go back to them soon. I have a meeting. I might start teaching classes again next week.
Oh boy,
got a text message waiting there. We'll see.
Now, as the humor is just speaking for itself for both of us, you and I have quirky taste in bad movies. What is one film that directly impacts your sense of humor, and what's one thing you would change about the film?
Okay, you first.
All right, so for me, I would love to do something with The Room, and then with the whole like sense of affair, I feel like there needed to be more like transparency. I feel like it didn't push the envelope enough in that regard. I felt like it was too much of like a simp method as far as like the main character. I feel like it needed to like push the extra mile back then. That's just me,
pushing the extra mile, making him less of a simp, modern lingo, making him more edgy, more I'm gonna get you,
like Lisa. A little bit more edgy, like more aware of what he could do.
What if he went the other way? Instead of giving her flowers and being nice to her, he took pickup artist advice and did catch string theory, said, oh, I love you, Lisa, and then just ignored her. And she's like, why are you not answering?
You exactly read my mind. You exactly read it.
We were talking about pickup artists earlier. That's why. Okay, to answer your question, I like that. That's interesting. He just gave her flowers. He did anything. You're right. He walked all over. Caddyshack and Zoolander and Blade, but Blade isn't comedy, but it is comedy. It kind of is comedy. Frost, Blade. It's funny.
It's comedy for knowing how serious they tried to take it.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious. I love things that like, is this comedy? Those are like my favorite people where you're like, wait, you're serious? I'm gonna tune into your channel all the time because you're hilarious and you don't mean to be. Yeah, Blade is great. Caddyshack, life.
So in that regard, like, what would you change, like, as far as scenes in Caddyshack? Like, let's go off that movie.
Nothing. I would just make longer. I would just do it again. Same type of stuff. Lacy and tie, more ties, more funny things. Just extended. I don't know. I wouldn't change a thing.
So 5 more sequels then. That's what you're telling me.
Okay. Yeah. Because watching it 27 times
it's going to be like the Fast and Furious Caddyshack.
Oh my. Well, yeah. I would like that. That would be cool. And that was Rodney Dangerfield's first film, supposedly. He didn't know what action meant. I thought that was so funny.
Oh no, that is kind of interesting. You do learn something new every day, ironically. But I actually I was not aware of that fact though. That's pretty cool.
I heard that. Yeah, he didn't know. He's like action. He's like, yeah, you know. He knew stand-up though. I'm going the other way around. I kind of know film. Now I'm wearing stand-up.
Right. And speaking of stand up, and as we're kind of starting to see shows in New Jersey now in 2021, but I guess a little bit before that time, like how has the pandemic affect your career? And as problems lead to new opportunities, how have you been able to keep yourself out there?
Uh, I have just been doing things that are fun. I haven't been thinking about how do I stay out there or anything like that. I just have a lot of friends that are in the indie fields. So indie fields don't go by the mainstream culture. And if their jobs are shut down or slower, they actually have more time to shoot indie films. So 3 films were shot here over the summer at my house. And I just constantly worked on different projects. And a friend actually asked me to go on an open mic, and I'm like, eh. And I did. And the guy made me do stand up. And then I was like, all right, I can come back. I can do this again. All right. That was kind of funny. And then I planned one for a day. And then I got asked to host a governor's show. And I was like, okay.
Oh,
And I
wow.
had fun. Yeah, but I'd done 2 open mics. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, are you like,
Right.
I wasn't claiming to be anything. I was like, are you sure? I actually was producing a movie downstairs with the guys at Trova, and I get a message, you want to do a show at Governors? I thought it was like a podcast. I'm like, I could do podcasts high in my sleep in a food coma, which I'm doing right now. I've eaten 2 plates of food. Oh my God. I am slow right now. So I'm like, no problem. I thought I was agreeing to that. And then it's like, it's a stand-up show. And it's like, dude, I've done 2 open mics. Like, are you sure? And then a couple days later, someone said, do you want to do a show at Governor? So I was signed up to do 2 shows. What? And now I have 3 shows booked. Like, it's like, what the hell is happening?
You have your
It's
plate
just
full.
weird. It's the same way fitness happened. People just went up to me and were like, can you train? I didn't even mean to do a training or do workout classes. It just someone asked, and I was like, all right, let's try it. And then I just kept doing it.
You're literally in like you're literally in like whatever works mode right now. Anything could be asked of you, and you're pretty much 90% of the
No.
time going to say yes. I didn't say 100
You know
for
what?
a
You
couple
know what?
reasons, but 90.
Actually, I say no a lot. I'm very no to most things in life. It's just what universe or whatever. I'll just say I was part of my stand-up scene is about someone coming out of anesthesia after having their wisdom teeth taken out. I don't know if you believe in synchronicities or whatever. I turn on the TV right after my friend leaves. We're writing a scene about that. That's the scene on TV in Schitt's Creek. The guy had his wisdom teeth taken out, and this keeps happening. I keep on thinking of something, and then I'll see it on TV. I dreamt of a girl. It was talking about a girl bringing an onion to help herself cry in a scene. My friend edits a video of me crying in a Bon Jovi movie to be holding onions so I can cry. I turn on TV. There's a girl brings an onion to an audition so she can cry. It's like, I think of
Oh,
something, I talk
wow.
about it, and then it's on my television on Schitt's Creek or Seinfeld or a sketch show. Those are the 3 ones that keeps happening. This has happened multiple times, or I'm asked to do it. It's very weird.
Well, there's also the scenario, and I mean, it's such an apples to orange comparison, but especially in the 90s with a lot of sitcoms, I'm sure you know this, with the cars going into the house on like Family Matters, Everyone Loves Raymond, Full House, stuff like that. There's a lot of things meant for kind of like regurgitation, knowing that it works.
I guess. I don't know. I'm just gonna pull in Jeffrey Epstein. I plead the 5th, the 6th, 34th, the 14th, the 17th, and a Wolf of Wall Street. I do not recall. It's never good when someone says I don't recall.
Well, to add you in the credits of this movie right now, of The Change Within, featuring Elyse Feldman, what is the biggest change you want to see for yourself this year?
Oh my God. The biggest change for myself, honestly, the biggest change I want is for the world to get healthier. I'd love to see the world as a whole truly get physically healthier, eating better, treating each other better, actually working together to create actual change, whether it's a government or an anarchist way. I don't know however you got to get there, whether it's Jesus or your neighbor, I don't care. Just make it work. Get something done. Stop talking and arguing on the internet. That's what I want. But myself, probably just more doing, less thinking, less doubt, and just doing the damn thing. Because I get psych myself out. I just be like, this isn't perfect, so I'm not going to do it. And then I don't do it. And then it's never perfect because you got to practice something to make it better, honey. You got to practice. I don't practice.
I echo that statement to say the least. And with that being said, that also concludes the Change of Him podcast for episode 18. For anyone who does doubt what we do, I would love for you to check out the channel yourself. And you could do so by having it on Anchor, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Jen, thank you very much for joining and have a great night.
Thanks, I will.
You got it. Bye-bye.